Final score: Wrexham 1, Barnsley 0. Excellent result for Wrexham. And this tough sequence of games, 5 games against sides who came into the matches in the top 9, has ended with 12 points out of 15. Stockport, of course, being the exception, but it does put that into context rather. This has been a strong month for Wrexham, and we enter December in an even better position than we were at the start of November. Again, Wrexham unchanged, unsurprisingly. Matty James seems to be having no problems now in terms of getting through matches, and with a week to recover, he was always liable to be fine for this one. But Barnsley, I tell you what, I mean, they started the game in 6th in the playoff spots. They have a pedigree of getting into the playoffs at least. And wow, they started fast, really fast. They were impressive. I mean, they were physical, 100 miles an hour football, loads of diagonals. They were penning us into our penalty area, and right at the very start of the match, we had to fight to earn the right to get a result out of it. We defended very well, but they were at us. They won set pieces. They're a big team. As Andy Morrell pointed out in the commentary, they were putting big diagonals in and overloading that part of the pitch so that they could get the second balls, and they just penned us in. And then again, from set pieces, just ring fencing us in so we couldn't get out, and the first 10 minutes were torrid. However, although it was nerve-wracking, they didn't really carve out any chances to trouble Callum Burton, in all honesty, and huge credit to our centre-backs and the whole team for that. And of course Ollie Palmer, who was, as always, winning his fair share of defensive headers from set pieces. And as again Andy pointed out, the other side of that approach and those overloads is that they maybe leave themselves a bit light on the counter-attack. And when we counter-attacked, we found space and we were looking threatening. 10th minute, the first real chance of the match, and it came to Wrexham. Matty James, nice link-up play in midfield, which culminates in a beautiful diagonal out of the left flank for James McLean. Just clears the full-back, and McLean running onto it takes the most fantastic first touch to be round the back of the fence. He drills the ball in, and it's cleared, but Rathbone retrieves the ball, squares it to Dobson, who quickly helps her on to Ryan Barnett, and he does really well first time with his left foot from outside the box, drills a powerful shot, a good strong parry by Ben Killip. We start to get into the game a bit more. Barnsley's intensity just fades a little bit, but they're still really looking to get at us. They have another moment of hope when Russell wins the ball about 25 yards out as we tried to get away from a set piece. Mark Roberts with a cute little back heel. This is all happening within about a yard. It's very crowded in there. Finds Connell, and Connell driving forwards punches the ball just off target, driving it from about 25 yards just over the bar. However, the attack started with Phillips on the right, for me, fouling Elliot Lee, no foul given, and drilling in a powerful cross. Callum Burton does well to get to the edge of his 6-yard box and punch it partly clear, and injures himself in the process. Appeared to be a thigh strain, and he couldn't continue. It was a sorry sight as he struggled to even get off the pitch, holding his thigh. A massive blow for Wrexham, having lost a Conquo. Burton and coming in and being an absolute revelation. What a blow to then lose him again. However, of course, we got Mark Howard. What strength and depth. Third choice keeper Mark Howard, who was Andy Parkinson. He's a different guy. Watch out for Andy on the Final Whistle Weekly tomorrow. Mark Howard, Phil Parkinson said afterwards, Mark Howard, what experience, what professionalism. He comes on and he would be impeccable. There was a big chance, though, immediately after he came on. Connell sweeping in a corner and Russell attacking it, makes it there first, just outside the 6-yard box at the near post. He managed to get a jump on McLean, but he runs in on the diagonal and he just can't adjust himself, so he just powerfully heads it the direction he's looking and puts it wide. It's a real opportunity. Wrexham settled, controlled things a bit more. Wrexham's midfield start to get into it, and Palmer is really working hard against the centre-backs of Barnsley. And at the end of the half, Wrexham start to create chances. 5 minutes before the end, Howard knocking a long ball forwards. Lee does really well to back in and create a loose ball, which Palmer swiftly gets across to and heads cutely to James. Matty James, as it bounces to him, takes it at its highest point and drills a fabulous strike from 25 yards, which is whistling inside the left post. Tremendous save by Killip, who lunges across, really strong top hands and really strong wrist, manages to parry it away for the corner. The corner is cleared, but Wrexham this time are penning Barnsley in from the set piece, and in the end Barnett on the right feeds it to the corner taker McLean. He sweeps in a good cross to the far post. Palmer gets up well but can't keep his header down and puts it over the bar, his marker leaning into him to just make sure he couldn't get that leverage onto the header. In the last minute of the half, another chance for Wrexham, another chance for Palmer. A tricky one this, to be fair. Great ball by Cleworth from his own half into the box, picking out Palmer, but the bounce is a bit awkward for Palmer. He takes it on his body, it loops in the air, and as it drops down he tries to hit it on the turn and he gets underneath it and puts it over the bar. Not an easy finish, but Wrexham just showing at the end of the half that we were coming into this more, and Wrexham start the half positively. Rathbone working it on to Palmer, lovely little flick inside, and Lee with a very fluent turn and shot from in the D, doesn't quite get enough power on it though. A low shot is saved low to his right by Killip. Then it's a wonderful moment as we approach the half point in the second half. The second half just lost a little bit of intensity, a little bit of pace, understandably. Both sides maybe just tiring a little bit. But Cleworth driving forwards down the right-hand side actually miscontrols it, but manages brilliantly to just get to the ball. That miscontrol draws the defender in. Cleworth then is able to just get there and toe poke to Barnett. Barnett with a lovely first time return pass round the corner, and Cleworth driving into the right channel. Really hits a toe buster of a shot from about 15 yards, looking to beat the keeper at his near post, and Killip does really well to get down and push the ball behind because it was travelling for the corner. That corner itself is cleared, but again, Wrexham win it back through more smart play by Matty James, a lovely little cushioned header to Lee, and he cuts inside as he likes to from the left and tries to rip it over the keeper to dip in under the bar with his right foot. It's a great shot, just a bit too central, and Killip has to acrobatically tip this one over as well. There's danger at the other end though. The two Irish internationals, O'Keefe and McLean, are having a bit of a scrap, and O'Keefe comes on top. Actually literally have a bit of a scrap later, and both get booked. O'Keefe stealing the ball from McLean and feeding it down the line. Now Humphreys, the Barnsley target man, had been handled brilliantly by O'Connell. They bring Jallow on and he makes an immediate impact. Different type of striker, more about pace and running into channels. So that pass, picking out Jallow on the right hand side, he feeds it in to the edge of the box. Phillips hits a snapshot from the edge of the area. However, it's too straight and Howard's behind it and saves it comfortably. 69th minute, Wrexham make the expected change. All change up top. Palmer and Fletcher and Mullin on for Lee and Palmer. But immediately, it's Jallow again looking threatening. An error, a rare error by Rathbone in midfield. The ball picked up by Jallow, who goes on a terrific run. Beats O'Connell, firstly, and that's a rarity. Helps it on to Phillips, who gives him the return pass. He drives at Brunt and wrong foots him beautifully, and then smashes a shot from just inside the penalty area, just right of centre. Terrific strike, and a hell of a save by Howard, who gets a strong right hand to it and tips it over the bar. Brilliant, brilliant save by him. Both sides now, I think, are tiring, and now as well as being tired, the quality's just dropping a bit. There are spells of head tennis in midfield, and you just wonder whether one side can dig deep and find another chance. Wrexham nearly get it with 2 minutes left, and what a way it would have been to win a match. A remarkable effort. Rathbone on the left, feeding Mullin, who rips the cross into the far post. A defender heads it to the edge of the area where Fletcher, lovely take on his thigh. I mean, there's players around him, the instinct of lesser players is just try and get there, but no, he judges it beautifully, takes it on his thigh, and as it drops, hits a magnificent volley with the outside of his foot, which curls and drops and just misses the top left corner. When you see it on the highlights, it's the one from behind the goal, the second replay, that really is closest to doing it justice. Because it doesn't look so close, but I promise you, we were right behind it. That was very nearly an amazing goal. And it looks like that's that. Cannon comes on in added time for Dobson. We're all noticing the legginess of the midfield. But in the 92nd minute, there is the breakthrough. And again, I mean, fair play. Rathbone, full of energy, appropriate that he's not tired and he's the man to provide it. In the commentary, I suggested maybe that Barnsley's midfield looked a little leggy and had backed off him. Certainly Barnsley back off him, but looking at it again, it's a very different matter. O'Connell receives the ball deep in his own half. The substitute striker, Cosgrove, goes to press him, and Barnsley's midfield step goal side of their players on the halfway line. They're perfectly reasonable. They're blocking off the passing channels. In fact, O'Connell, if he stays on his right foot, has only got one very risky pass between two Barnsley players to play it out wide to Barnett on the flank. So at this point, what Barnsley are doing is good front foot off the ball work. However, O'Connell beautifully sells Connell the dummy, drops his shoulder, Cosgrove rather, and ends up on his left foot instead, having beaten him. And that opens things out. And Rathbone, well, all the Barnsley players, I would argue now, are the wrong side of their players because O'Connell's got lots of time to pick a pass. Crucially, the player that's marking Rathbone steps up further. He's not quite sure. He's obviously thinking, should I go to O'Connell? Or O'Connell can help it out to Brunt. So he tries to take up a position which covers both those passes to Rathbone and Brunt. And what he actually does is neither. He just opens up that passing channel for O'Connell to Rathbone. O'Connell is good on the ball. He sees it. He hits Rathbone. Rathbone turns and runs. Because the Barnsley midfielders have stepped goal side of their markers, none of them can catch him. No one's going to catch him now. Can a centre-back come out and deal with him? Probably not, because of the work of Mullin and Fletcher. Mullin makes a really good run down the left channel. So, obviously, his marker has got to watch him. Fletcher intelligently shifts from the right-sided centre-back to go across Pines, the central centre-back. And although Pines eventually will try to step out and do something, he can't do it in time because Fletcher has got in his way. So the two strikers, showing their experience, they create space. Rathbone keeps going and then drills a tremendous strike into the bottom right corner. A great finish by him and a deserving match winner from, well, a deserving player, because for me, O'Connell and Rathbone, the two players who make that goal happen, are the outstanding players on the pitch. A huge win for Wrexham, and one that, well, quite frankly, felt like gold dust. To win a tough game against strong opposition like that was absolutely fantastic. Performances of the team. Burton had one thing to do, did it well, and sadly got injured in doing it, so that was a hell of a blow. Mark Howard's coming in was terrific, like I said. It's not easy for a goalkeeper to suddenly be called upon, and to be as ready as he was and as spot on as he was is a huge compliment to him. Great work. It's good to know we've got a guy like that, not just in terms of relying on him with his quality, but also just being able to call on him for his personality, professionalism and presence at the club. Brilliant stuff. The centre-backs are very good. I thought, again, Brunt was, taking off like he's Aaron Hayden and winning loads of towering headers. He did very well. Again, O'Connell, my man of the match, yeah. Above Rathbone, although it's a close thing. Like I said, Humphreys is a good, experienced target man, and O'Connell physically dominated him. He was excellent, and it was an issue for Barnsley that they were getting nothing off Humphreys because O'Connell bullied him. It was a great central defensive performance. And then Max Cleworth had a sort of another classic Max Cleworth performance. He came forwards and supported well, but in terms of defensive play, he's just so smooth and reads things so well that you just almost don't notice him. He's just very quietly does the right thing and makes sure no alarms happen in his part of the penalty area. Great work by Cleworth. On the flanks, Barnett didn't destroy the left wing back. In fact, Gent, I thought, defended quite well against him. He was left isolated a couple of times and, couldn't stop him getting crosses in necessarily, but he did on one occasion, but was able to stay on his feet long enough to force Barnett's cross to be too close to the keeper. But Barnett still had his role to play. He still made some nice passes forwards. It was a great early effort by him that was saved well by the keeper, and a good performance by him. On the left-hand side, I was really impressed with McLean. Again, he won a lot of challenges. He was getting into some very promising positions. He looked good and solid at left-back, and he was being tested by a good player in O'Keefe, but yeah, he had a good match. Centre mid, Matt James maybe lost the ball a bit more than his other games for Wrexham, but nonetheless, his reading of the game and his ability to shift the ball on quickly again gives us an extra impetus and authority in midfield, and he had some lovely little deft touches, not least as well as that wonderful shot he had that Killip made a great save from. Rathbone was brilliant, and especially in the second half, he really came to his own. It's almost as if, you've got two very serious teams of professionals, and the fitness levels are terrific, and the pace is magnificently fast in the first half. In the second half, when everyone just can't quite reach that level, Rathbone starts to really shine because he's still at that level, and he keeps going, and at the end he's driving forwards and scoring the goal. But Rathbone was everywhere, getting little foot in, little touch, little pass to keep a move going. He was absolutely everywhere. He's tireless. And Dobson as well, doing the parallel job on the right-hand side. Again, a really pleasing performance by him. Used the ball well. I like seeing him get higher at the pitch like he can in this role because he has a threat. He gets good delivery into the box as well. Elliot Lee, again, dropping off and linking play, did a good job and is very diligent, and he's good in the press as well, so we look good when we're coming up against opposition trying to play it out from the back. Palmer had a good battle with the centre-backs. I thought it was pleasing the way that he went about his business and really ground them down in preparation for Mullin and Fletcher, who when they came on were both lively. Great to see Fletcher fitting that from back in the squad once more. And he won his fair share of headers and had that magnificent effort. Mullin was lively again, putting a great cross to create a chance near the end of the game. And Andy Cannon coming on very late, didn't have a chance really to influence stuff as such, but very pleasing, very pleasing. Wrexham beat a very strong side who looked like a strong side. Barnsley, last 2 years, have been in the playoffs. The year before that in the Championship, and the year before that in the Championship playoffs. So this is a strong side that's used to winning. They came, they were positive, they had a superb support behind them, but Wrexham come through again. Very, very pleasing. On to Burton now. The final score of Wrexham 1, Barnsley 0. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.